Howdy everyone, Nimby here, just doing up some Goddard Caddises today. Hey Tyler, good to have you in, man. Well, so we're going to be starting off with some burnt orange, or in this case it's called rusty brown. But some like rusty brown. You can do this in black, white, doesn't really matter too much. I'm using rusty brown because the head's going to be a rusty brown color. But you can really use any color, especially for spinning the deer hair. It's not going to be showing anyway. I'm going to be starting the thread in this case right back just between the point and stop bouncing around on me, just between the point and the barb. Not a lot today. Nice lazy start to the morning. I want to make sure that's tied in fairly well because we're going to be torquing on it. Don't want it to come loose. But we do want to leave the shank bare on this one because we're going to be spinning some deer hair. And a good bit of deer hair, it's going to be nice and messy. Have to clean up after. Morning all tea time. So we'll cut off our tag end here. There we go. Alright, so there's a couple different ways you can do this as far as deer hair goes. I generally save my longer hair trimmings, and they make perfect deer hair for spinning body like this. For the first one, however, I'm going to cut some off and leave the tips intact, so they're not just the square body chunks, because they'll be pointing back a bit. You don't need to do that. That's totally personal preference, and the more common version of this fly actually has it completely trimmed around, so you may actually end up, depending on how things land for you, you might actually end up trimming this all off anyway. But I'm gonna just throw that in there for this one. We'll see how it ends up looking. If they stand out well and they're in the right position, great. If not, don't matter, we'll just trim them off anyway. So I'm going to want to grab a good bit of deer hair. This is Appalachia whitetail. If you have whitetail, you want to use that. You can use elk as well. If you're going to use elk, the cow elk typically spins a little better than the male because it's a little floofier. Just going to pull that up. So you want about much, so roughly about double the hook gap length if it's flattened out, or triple. Need a good bit for that first tie-in. And this has a lot of under fluff to it, so just give me a minute to clean that out. There we go, got our patch cut off. And thankfully all the hair that's already in the container is already cleaned off, so we don't need to worry about that. Yay, happy weekend! It's Saturday! Freedom! Well, not for me, I'm working Saturday, but all good right now. So we're just going to clean out all this broken stuff and under hair first. It's very important that you get this nice and clean for the spinning, or it'll stick together and it won't spin properly. It'll be very, very frustrating for you. So get rid of all the broken guys, all the short guys. Short ones aren't as important, but you'll end up with patchy spots if you have a lot of short things in there. It's generally isn't that big of a deal. This is a very messy fly pattern just in its nature, so it's not that big of a deal. No worries. Eric, good to have you in, man, and Matt, is you too. Thanks for stopping in, guys. I do appreciate it. We don't need terribly long fibers for this. The biggest thing is that they're not terribly broken and too short. You want to have them at least like the whole shank length of your hook is a good kind of gauge to start with. You're going to be trimming it after, so a lot of that's going to disappear. But the more you can get, the better. If you go much longer than that, it's going to be hard to spin, but that's like a good kind of gauge. After you do one or two, you'll get the hang of it, and it all depends on what deer hair you're working with, what length you're starting with. This is much on the longer side, so you can see there's the full bundle there. And we're gonna find wherever I put my stacker. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna pop that in the stacker if it's gonna behave itself. There we go. Come on, get in there. Lost a few on that. There we go. Get it all in the stacker. Stack it up. Now, it's not super important that you stack this. The main reason I'm stacking it is it also will help me clean it up. And it'll get all the fibers loose but repacked so that they'll spin okay. If they're stuck against each other with static electricity, or they're bound against each other with some underfur that I didn't clean out, they won't spin very well. So even though this is going to get them to stack nicer, that is not my really overarching end goal here. It's just to get them cleaned up, and you can see they're nice and floofy in there now. They're all separated, and that's really what I'm looking for. And there's some, you can see the fur there sticking out, the underfur that didn't quite get it. A lot of times it likes to float its way to the bottom, which is great. It makes it a little easier to get rid of. And a few broken fibers there as well. We'll just clean off that. And again, we're not terribly worried, like that's not the best stacking job at all. But we're not worried about that because we're going to be spinning it and cutting it anyway. We'll probably lose the majority of these tips. But I do like my caddises to have that little color variation on the back with the tips going back. If I can manage it, it's all good. If it doesn't work out, whatever, just trim it up. I'm going to be packing this a little bit like a snowball, just to realign all those fibers. And you can feel it coming together like a pencil. Okay, we're going to clean that out one more time because we want to make sure this is right clean. And mostly want to get that fluffy underfur out. Still getting some, see? This is beautiful Appalachian deer hair. The only downside is it was harvested in the late winter and it has a very thick undercoat for whitetail, which is good for the deer. Not necessarily great for what I'm trying to do right now, but it's not a horribly bad thing either. Just takes a little cleaning. If you get a summer harvest deer, you won't have to do this, and it won't. You can see there's just takes a lot more to clean out than you think it would. You don't have to worry about the broken ones as much. Like I said, they will create a little hole normally if they break while you're spinning. But if you pack it fairly tight and you got decent hair like this, you probably won't notice. But it is something to keep in mind if you are trying to get a really nice tight pack. There you go. That's about as good as I think we're going to get it, so. Okay. Now I want to hold this for the first tie-in. I want this to be going back about, let's see here, not quite the shank length, but say a little bit longer than the gap, so right about there. I'm going to transfer this over to my other hand at that point. Now we got it measured off. This can be as long as it wants because it's all going to get cut out anyway, don't matter. We're going to have 2 tie-in points here, maybe 3 depending on how our second tie-in goes. Now what I'm going to do here, it's okay for it to be a little flat like this because we're going to wrap our thread around. You can keep it a little more penciled if you're having some issues with it. Like as penciled, I mean like wrapped together. As long as you can get your first wrap around it, like I'm doing now. I'm just wrapping my first wrap just around the hair. My thread's being a poo. Okay, come on. My second wrap, I'm going to go around the hair and then around the shank. I want to make sure I'm connecting with the bare shank right before where I did my tie-in point, right there. I'm going to bring it down. I'm just going to let that set. Hey, Muddy, good to have you in, mate. And then I'm going to kind of wiggle it so it goes into the hook here. And then I'm going to do one more wrap around the bundle. And on my, what are we on, second, third wrap, whichever number. I think we're on third wrap. As I'm doing my third wrap around, I'm going to let go, and you can see I'm adding tension now to the point where it's just, you can see it's just starting to flare up. As I'm doing my third wrap, I'm going to put a lot of tension. I'm going to let go and let it spin, and it's going to do its thing, and it's just all one motion. You got to trust it and let it go, and then we'll pack it back and see what we end up with. Okay. Oh, it did wrap around my shank there. Okay. Well, in that case, it was probably a little bit on the long side. Come on, buddy. Man, why are you spinning so much? Come on. Whoa. That would be why it's spinning too much. Okay. I must have, I'm not sure how I cut my thread there. I don't think I hit the point, but obviously I cut my thread. Okay. Let's try that again. That was explosive. Fortunately, I don't think I can really save that deer here. I might try to save some of it later, but we'll get a new piece here. Apologize. Oh, okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so between the point and the barb, get this tied in fairly well because we're going to be... I wonder if that's why it was spinning, if this actually let go. That could be. Because it was pretty loose when I came up, and it just kind of let go. So let's make sure we got this wrapped in nice and tight. I thought I had it in there pretty good. I was testing it. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere. I suppose if that's giving you a lot of problems, you could always just throw a little dab of head cement on there. The head cement's like a... There you go. Happy birthday to the wife then. Alright, let's try that again. Let's get some deer hair. That's too bad, because that was a really nice clump of deer hair. I'm kind of sad that exploded, but you know, you will have failures in thread. I am only using 8/0 here. A lot of people will use, or I'm using a 6/0, which is about a 70 denier. For spinning hair like this, a lot of people go up to like 140 or 120 denier, or to have the extra oomph behind it. You can get by with the 72 denier like I'm using here. You just have to really be paying attention to the amount of torque you're putting on the line. And normally I can tell why something fails like that, because you can feel it letting go, right? Or you can feel if you hit the point, but it obviously broke on me, so I'm not sure. Look at all that underfur. Jesus, that's supposed to have been like a cozy deer. He had a lot of underfur. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of repack that. We'll get that back in our stacker here. That's okay. You will break thread. I mean, that's just all part of the game, right? It's unfortunate to have all that deer hair go to waste, though, but what are you gonna do? It was pretty kinked. I don't think if I respun it, I would end up with a lot of broken pieces. There's different things I could use it for, like a muddler head or something that's even like half the size. It's a lot smaller. I might be able to save it and pack it in the front as a kind of small head on it if I needed to do 3 packs instead of 2. We'll see if we're around with this hook shank if I'm going to need to do 2 or 3 stacks on it. That's actually a really nice stack right there. It's pretty beauty. Okay. Again, not super important because it's going to be all over the place. It just makes lining up and getting this to sit a little better. Okay, and we'll re-clean it one more time. Get all that fur out. Okay, that time actually looks a lot cleaner. Good deal. A little bit of fur out of this side. Yeah, that fur, it makes excellent dubbing, and because of that, it binds them together. When you go to spin it around, it'll act like a brake. It'll tangle everything up. So the body of the deer fur is just slippy enough to have this process work properly. But if you have a lot of underfur in there, it is not going to work for you. Alright, so we're going to measure that. Again, we're going to go a little bit past the hook gap, sticking out the back. It doesn't have a tail on it, we're just extending the body, making it a bit bushier that way. I'm just going to do a wrap around it this time so I can feel it sink in. There we go. I'm not going to do the wrap around the deer hair itself, just around the deer hair and the shank. So we have another problem this time. I want to be able to feel the tension on the thread. Another important step is you want to, which I'm having trouble getting, the thread to sit together. So you don't want to have like your thread wraps beside each other. You want them in the same notch. There's our first 2. You can see them together. Now when I do, I have this sunk down. I know it's probably hard for you to see, but here, I'll lift up the middle. You can see it's sunk down in the shank is in the middle of the hair right now. Hey Rob, we're spinning some Goddard Caddis today. So nice big old poofy messy fly. If I can get this to work. We failed on the first attempt. Okay, so now you can see I'm putting tension on it and it's starting to flare. That's perfect. You want it to flare, and you want it to flare evenly. If you're putting tension on it like this, and it's flaring more on the top than the bottom, and the one side or one area is not flaring, then you don't have it centered on the hook. The hook shank isn't centered in the middle of the bundle. So you want to adjust it at that point. So it's a good time to just kind of torque it a little bit, and you can see everything's moving pretty evenly. So I think we got her lined up pretty good. And this third one I'm going to do, I'm just going to wrap it. And as I wrap it, I'm going to shorten my line up a bit so I can put more tension on it. As I wrap it, I'm going to be putting like medium to hard tension. And I'm going to do my third wrap. It's all in one motion. And as I'm wrapping, I'm going to let go. And this is going to spin and flare and tie in all at the same time. So it's one of those things you got to kind of trust the process and just go with it. My tail is really getting hung up on there. Come on, buddy. Get out of there. Why is it doing that, man? It's the second time. Are you letting go? Okay, 1 second here, because it broke. It didn't break from the point, because this was all wrapped up. Yeah, it's a clean break, and it wasn't from the point. Huh. Okay, I'm going to switch my thread out. I don't think it's this thread, but let's go to a different thread just in case. Maybe I don't. Maybe this one is damaged or a little bit dry rot or something. I don't know. I definitely wasn't around the point at that point. Wow, okay, we're gonna have like a huge mess now. Thankfully, most of it landed in my trash can. Okay. I apologize. I am not 100% sure why that's breaking. I'm gonna blame it on the thread for now, but you can see it's spinning, and it should stop after like 1.5 turns or a quarter turn or so. It should start tightening up, and it's just not tightening up. It's just spinning, and then the thread pops. Let me trying to think if I should switch to a different thread here. Let's do. I'm gonna try this. What denier is this? Oh, no worries, Rob. Hey, like I said, unfortunately, you're not the only one, man. There's gobs of people seem to be having problems with all sorts of different features in YouTube right now. Wonder if they're using AI to do some of their updates and it's just not working properly. Okay, so we're gonna switch to a white thread, and I'll use my brown or the orange thread to finish the head off. But this is 100 and so we're gonna move up a denier gap to an 8/0, which is 100 and what are we? 105 denier. So we went from 72 denier to 105 denier, so it's thicker, but not like noticeably. And I've actually never spun deer hair with this specific thread, so we're gonna see. Again, I want to start between the point and the barb, because we want to leave that bare shank to do the spinning on. And we'll spin just behind our thread tie-in here. Okay, I'm just gonna... Yeah, I mean, like, that's not letting go. That is definitely not what's failing. Oh well. That is part of doing this, is to figure this kind of stuff out. must admit that I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Okay, I'm just gonna grab some of this pre-cut hair so we don't have to keep cleaning stuff out. And this is pre-cleaned and all that good stuff. So I'm going to grab some of this, and we're just gonna try and stack some real quick so I'm not wasting everyone's morning. And I've tied dozens and dozens of these. I've never had that. I've had my line break, but not twice in a row like that. Okay, so I'm going to be stacking this in a cradle stacker here, just to get it semi. Okay. This is the length I want for the, this is the length I want for my second tie-in. Normally I keep it nice and short like this for muddler heads and that kind of thing. But it'll work for the second tie-in. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit short for this back half. Okay, let's just do it again. I'll have that ready to go for the next one, for the next tie-in point. Let's make it work. It's hard for me to say that, but I'm not sure why it's not working in the first place. I'm gonna chalk it up to the thread, and we switched the thread, so we should be okay now, right? Right. Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, normally we do a good job. Well, whatever, you have these kind of days sometimes, right? I'm gonna chalk it up to the thread just being whatever. Look at all that fuzz in there. Eesh. I really should put that aside and actually clean it out and use it as some dubbing, because it does make excellent dubbing. I'd probably only get a handful of nymphs out of it, and it's easier to just cut some beaver or something. But if you needed really good dubbing and you didn't have any beaver or something, that would be a nice light colored, almost like a fawn. Forgive the pun. Fawn color. I think so. I don't, like, I was really careful not to hit the point on that second one because I thought that might have been my mistake on the first one. But it definitely didn't hit it on the second one. That I could tell anyway. But you can see I was just spinning, and it shouldn't have spun that far either, so I feel like maybe the thread corded up and spun to the point of breaking, which is a bit weird. You shouldn't really break that soon either. You should be able to cord quite a bit before it snaps like that. Either way, we're past that. We're just gonna spin these. I'm gonna make this quite a bit shorter and see if that makes a difference for us too. I'm gonna cut this off and then we'll add it to our next bundle. Again, traditionally, all these ends are going to get cut off, so the stacking is not really to get the ends in place. It's to loosen this bundle up, help me get all the hair out and clean, so it'll spin nice. Having the ends together is just a nice little bonus, but it's more for getting them ready for spinning. You can see all the extra hair that it helps to, or likes to, float down to the bottom. Okay. One of the important thing I'm going to try and do is just move down the shank a bit farther. Because it is catching. I do have, like, normally I'd have my hook not in the gap there, but up high, so I'd have a little more room. I put it in the hook gap there so I can really torque on it without moving the hook. Like, there's no way this is going to go left or right because it's in the gap, it's in the slit. Downside of that is it doesn't give me as much room to spin the hair in there, so I can tell that it is grabbing there when it really shouldn't be. We're gonna give this a shot here. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, we're gonna cut off about half of this. I'll save that for the next one. Okay, there we go. So we got a much smaller chunk here. I'm gonna just move, like, just for my own personal curiosity, like away from the hook point there. Yeah, I mean, I've done these on these hooks numerous times. Normally it's a silver body, but I mean the finish on the hook really shouldn't matter any. Okay, so I'm gonna get it so my points are kind of just at the end there. Again, this is more for my mental health and getting this to at least work. Normally I'd have it back a fair bit. So 1, 2, those aren't quite where I want them. Okay. Again, one important aspect is to get the thread in the same spot, so it's not laying beside each other, but the thread is right on top of each other. You see that there? So 2 wraps. We'll just wiggle it with our fingers to get it positioned in the middle of the hook, so it's somewhat even around. Okay, and we're gonna go for it. Just gonna keep away from that stupid point. You see, I got it pretty good because when I pull on it, you see it's flaring all around the whole thing really evenly, so it should be good. It wants to spin, so. Alright, here we go. Like I said, just trust it and go for it. There, you see how it stopped? That's fine. So now I just gotta pull out. Yeah, that worked exactly as it should have worked. Okay, so the benefit of doing it the way we did it there is that we get these nice little pokey bits and all the little ends on the backside. I just like the look of that. I like the the slight color cast change. Excuse me, and everything going that way. Okay. So you have a couple options at this point, but yeah, we're in there. The thread held on fine. You can see I get a little bit more turn on it. Just gonna get 2 more wraps through just to make sure the tension's held on there. Okay, and you can see how it stops. It just doesn't want to spin anymore. But we also have like a perfect poof all the way around. That's exactly what the other one should have done. I don't understand what happened with the other one. I have to chalk it up to the thread being poor. It was a brand new it was a new spool of thread, so it's possible it could have had some damage on it from shipping. A lot of times I will actually just pull out like the first 5 feet of thread and just toss it, because when it's banging around in the shipping containers and in the fly shop and whatever, it doesn't take much to get some abrasion on that first row of thread. Okay, so at any point we need to push this back, and there's a few ways you can do that. You can use something like a hollow pen and just get it in there. Do this. And that'll get most of it back there for you. What you're trying to do is pack it. Honestly, other than poking your finger on the hook, your fingers typically work the best. If you're packing it really tight, like in this case for this pattern, we're not trying to get it like super tight, because we want to have a open kind of air body. It's a dry fly. We're not making like a bass popper. We want it to be tight, but not like crazy tight to the point where it looks like plastic. And that does take a lot of practice and skill to get to when you're packing deer hair to be that tight. So I'm just going to pull this all back gently with my finger. If you get one or two wrapped up there, it's not the end of the world. But we want to just create a little thread dam in front of it that'll stop it from migrating around the hook. And that's about as packed as I want it. I like mine to be open. I think it causes a much more buggy looking body to it. Again, personal preference, right? If you want to pack it super tight, you go right ahead. So the other thing you can do is, where did my thing go? Besides an open pen like that, you can just like regular old Bic pen. Pull out the ink well, and this one's a little tighter. If you get the old crystal Bic pens, they're quite a bit tighter and thicker at the end like that, so they work a little bit better. And of course, there's lots of like off-brand pens, so you can check your drawer of pens that don't work anymore, and you'll probably find one that's the right size. And what you're looking for is something that has the right size, but also thickness of the edge. Because if it's too thin, it'll cut your deer hair, and that won't help you any. And of course, they make actual fly tying tools for that, but in essence, what it is just a hole in something that you can push against. You can easily make them out of like wood doweling too. I've seen lots of people make their own out of bits of wood. So if you're good with wood and you got a drill, just make something you can hang on to. I had a plastic straw I used for a long time too, like a kid's drinking straw. That worked really well. Okay, anyway, we'll get back to this. So that's the first go. We're going to do our second go, and we may need a third out of this. You see it's just all loose in there. So I'm just going to lightly pack it together. And normally if you pack it and hit it and pack it and hit it, you'll get it like 90% of the way there. If you lose a few fibers, it's not the end of the world. This was probably going to be waste material anyway, so don't worry about it. And this second row here is going to be trimmed again. So if you're losing some, or there's some shorter pieces and stuff in there, it's not that big of a deal, because it's going to be trimmed down quite a bit, especially on the bottom. You only need like a short amount here, like probably half of what you had in the last one. So there we go, our big old mess. Do this over top of your trash can. If you bundle this together, I'm actually seeing a lot of underfur in there, which I thought I cleaned this out before I put it in. I may have made a mistake and not done that. Okay, well, we gotta go with it now. Can't really clean this out without losing half of it. So we're gonna make a go. We're gonna just get her done. Alright, I'm gonna walk my thread ahead so I'm on bare shank. A lot of times with this portion here, it's easier to hold it at like a 45-degree angle to the shank, so I'm not putting it right on top like this. I'm going to be putting it on a bit of an angle just to get the thread wrapped around and tied in, and it'll straighten itself out as it goes. You don't want to be too close to that next one, and you definitely want to try and avoid tying in hairs from the last bundle because it'll stop it from spinning. So same as last time, I'm going to get 2 wraps in. Thicker end, like if one of the ends is thicker that you're tying in, you want to have it to the back side. Again, we're going to be trimming up on an angle, and that is where all your... Come on, dude, stay back. You're such a nice clump, I don't want you getting all torn up. There we go. Okay, let's get this up here. I'm going to do one soft wrap on it. You can see it's flaring a little more to the top than bottom, so I'm going to shove it down a bit more. Okay, now the bottom's flaring, so it should be good. Okay, so then on this wrap, I'm just going to let go, I'm going to spin it and commit to it, and the same as last time. We should get about 1.5-ish wraps before it stops spinning. And again, dude. What is going on? Alright, well, I think I can save this. It's gonna be all messy as get out, but we'll... Why are you breaking? I swear I'm not putting that much tension on it. Alright, well, it's happened 3 times now. It's gotta be something I'm doing wrong. I'm just not sure what that is. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure what's going on there. Really, I'm confused. That's true, like you do want to wrap it, like that is very true. They do say that with us, like you want to be pulling to the point right before the thread breaks, but it doesn't, to me, it doesn't feel like the thread's gonna break. Like I'm really not, like that's like just my first wrap. Hey guys. Hey Villa, thanks for joining the Nimby fail boat. We're gonna go and fail at some more deer hair spinning here. Alright, I'm gonna try this gobbered up bunch here because I don't know. I'll try it again here, see what we get. Maybe happens when you're super good looking and massive biceps are just destroying the fly. That's my wife is giggling beside me. See, she knows it's true.
That's right.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna... Alright, we're just gonna commit to it, try it again. I'm not sure why it's failing, but... And that didn't want to spin at all. Oh my gosh. That didn't even budge. Why? Dude, I'm so confused. Okay, I'm gonna get some new hair. Apparently. I am legitimately, like, completely confused now. I just don't understand. I've done this, like, so many times without any issue. And this one here by the butt, I mean, that went really well. That should be exactly what this is doing. Okay, well, I know it's not ideal for me to have like a thread base there. It is much easier to spin it on the, whew, that hook point is sharp too. It is ideal for it to, wow, it's sharp, to spin on the shank and not on the thread, but you can spin on the thread. Okay, let's get some brand new deer hair. Put this second thing in. I'm gonna go through like half a thing of deer hair, just getting one fly down here. Okay, so we're gonna go with a little bit less. As we move forward, we're gonna get a little bit less. So we're gonna say like, I don't know, half a pencil for this one. And for this one, I am gonna cut the ends off. So I know it makes me cry every time I do that, but we just want the ends on the back half of the fly. Actually, I'm gonna stack it and then cut the ends off because there's lots of ends at the bottom. I'm not honestly frustrated, although I probably should be. I'm completely, utterly confused. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. And there is an answer. I just gotta find out what the answer is. I thought maybe thread, but we switched thread. It could definitely be my technique, but this has worked for me hundreds of times before, so I'm not sure why it wouldn't now. And I've used this same patch of deer hair to spin dozens of flies without any problems, so I don't think it's deer hair. I'm definitely cleaning it out well enough. It looks nice and clean. It stacks well, so it's normally if you can stack it in the stacker, then you've gotten enough hair out of it, even if it's not perfect. But you can see there's lots of fluff in there. As long as you can stack it, you should be able to spin it basically, because the two principles work the same. You want the shanks of the fur to run together, right? So if you can't stack it and they're sticking together, then it's probably not going to spin well. And I'm just completely covered in deer hair right now. Alright. That back half is beautiful though. I mean, that was a nice butt spin. I'm happy with that one. Just need to do it again. Alright, so there we go. Got our tips. Hey, Glacier Shark. Come watch Nimby fail at spinning deer hair. It does have a big butt, and it's not gonna lie. It might just... you gotta be careful with the wax, because you can use wax for spinning hair in certain techniques that you're trying to do, but the problem with the wax is if it gets into the fibers, and that's why you want to be careful if you're putting a little bit of head cement or something on your tie-in point. It will... I'm trying to think of a way to say it without... it'll stick the fibers together, so it'll do the same thing as if you didn't clear out all the underfur, right? It'll help to bind the fibers together and they won't spin on themselves. I'm just gonna neaten this up. Okay, now this should work. This is a nice little cleaned out chunk of deer hair. There's no reason this shouldn't spin. Okay. This really should work. Morning. You know what? It's probably my issue. I probably need more tea. That's always the answer to most of my problems. This feels so good, like it's just... It's flaring beautifully. The thread feels good. Like everything in my head is telling me this is going to spin well. Okay, so let's try it again. Ready? Okay, well that spun a little better than the last one, but not amazing, but feeling self-conscious now. Okay, that wasn't as tight as I wanted it to be, but it did spin well. And it didn't break. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh well, let's just keep moving forward till we get this full. Then we can cut it apart and burn it with fire. Never speak of it again. Okay, and I'm just gonna walk this back just with my fingernails and my fingers. And that walked back pretty good. We didn't lose too many fibers there. Alright, let's spin another one. Yeah, I need 3 or 4 for this. I think having a little bit less on there is just going to help me for the immediate term future here. Oh, Rob, is your messages working now? That's cool if they are. Yep. Fly tying gods are like, no deer hair for you. Okay. Using this cutoff stuff is a bit more of a pain because it's not even. Ah, okay. That's such a weird problem. It's funny because you're getting like half the feed but not the other half of the feed. Okay, so this is again much shorter bunch. I'm just gonna do this quick here and just get it done. I think I'm seeing all the chat. That's a good point. I don't know. I could be missing stuff and not even know it, right? Alright. That feels good. It's loose. It feels like it wants to spin. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Again, not spin as nice as I would like it, but it did work. I'll just keep doing that till we pack it full. Ooh, that's going to take a little more than I thought it was going to. We're going to be tapering down quite a bit, and we're leaving like the whole front half here for hackle, or not half actually, it's more like less than a quarter, but a good chunk of the front there for hackle. And I got to tie in the I got to tie in the antenna too at that point. Alright, I'm just gonna grab some fresh stuff and not muck with that pre-cut stuff. I think we'll have enough with this one bunch if I cut it in half here. Once I clean it out, I think we'll have enough to finish this off. Oh. Yeah, it's just dirty hair. And I saw this caddis pattern on my next on my list, and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice, easy fly. I just got to spin some hair, some hackle in the front, nice and quick, and have some good conversation." Nope, apparently not. No easy fly for you, Nimby. You're going to suffer. I am legitimately confused as to why it is doing what it's doing, though. Thankfully, we got it on film, so I can always look back on it and see where I'm making a mistake, which does help. Okay, so I'm gonna... I'm not gonna bother stacking this. I'm just gonna cut this clean off. All these tips are gonna get trimmed off anyway once they're spinned. Yeah, good to have you in, Bill. I know you can't normally make my early mornings because you're sleeping, because you're working late. Oh, that was a mistake. Don't blow in your garbage can. That was a horrible idea. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. Don't do what Nimby just did. That was a really bad idea. I was just trying to blow a little bit of fur off my bobbin. Okay. Okay, I'm going to cut this in half. I kind of want to cut this in half because I just need 2 short spots there. Okay, I'm going to cut this in half. And that should be enough to finish this fly off. This first part here is like super short. It's just like the thorax and the head area. I've got 1 or 2 fibers caught in there, but I think they'll probably just rip out, hopefully. Alright. Thread around it. Just going to wiggle it down a bit because I'm not quite mid-shank. Test the flare. Flare looks good. Okay, holding my tension and spin. Okay, that was a good spin. You can see how it just stops when it gets the right tension. That's what we want. It's working good now. I'm not sure what I did wrong. So you're making like a little Christmas tree, basically. You're going down, down, down. You don't necessarily have to bring the size and all that down as you're packing it back. It's just you're going to be cutting it off anyway, so there's really not much point in making it bigger because it's all going to get trimmed off anyway. But you can, if you just want to make it like a big old sausage, that'll be fine too. Okay, so we got 2 or 3 wraps there. Just hold tension in. Okay, I'm gonna grab my pile from the last one. This guy's gonna be nice and short, but that's good. I think this might be our last one. We'll see how she spins. Two loose wraps. Wiggle her down a bit. You can feel the hook shank in between your fingers when you're wiggling it, so that helps a lot. Okay, we're gonna commit and do our 2 wraps. There we go. You can see how it just like it finds a nice little happy spot and it goes and just cinches up, almost like when you're cinching up a half hitch. has a very similar feeling because the thread is tightening. Okay, I'm going to do 2 wraps through that because we're getting close to the end now. And I'm going to pack this back and we'll see if we got our length that we want. Oh, Vilgrim's is always busy, man. You're always doing something. I don't know how you have time for all the stuff. Okay. I'm going to throw a thread base up front here too. This is where I can switch over to that orange thread. So I wanted to have a nice orange. I like the look of the like burnt orange heads. Really? Oh, that'd be cool. You don't really get a whole lot of. Hopefully, it's a nice big thick catfish. That would be cool. Okay, I'm gonna do a whip finish and a couple half hitches here, just to save face, and if I need to take this out of the... Is all your guys' bills going up because of the data centers then? Because you're in that area, aren't you? Oh, I caught 2 hairs in there. Dude, I was trying not to do that. Yeah, thankfully ours hasn't jumped. But I mean, we've had data centers here for a long time, and it's all subsidized by the government and everything anyway, and it's all hydropower. Technically, like per kilowatt hour, we have some of the cheapest electricity in the world here. So it's actually almost to the point where it's not necessarily cheaper for me to have hydro than solar. I do have some solar. But it definitely makes it almost not worth getting the solar, because it would take me almost 20 years to pay it off with how cheap our hydro rates are. But hopefully it stays that way. If it doesn't, well, solar's going to be a much better option. Alright, I'm just going to do 1 or 2 more there because I caught that hair in. I don't know how tight that last one got. Hey! Look, Nimby made a poofy caddis. Finally. After much strife. Yeah, I try to overpay mine too, actually. And then you kind of get like a free month after like doing it for a year. So that's nice, where you're like, ooh, I don't really have to pay this month. I only have to pay like 20 bucks or something. We just don't get enough sun in winter. Hey, Caddis! We don't get enough sun in winter here to warrant the solar panels. For like 6 months out of the year. Like the solar panels I have in deep winter, even with the reflection from the snow, it might have been better this year, but on an average year. With the reflection from the snow, it can barely keep the batteries charged just with the draw from the inverters. So it's like I don't get, technically after a week or 2 of charging, I might get, a full charge and be able to use it, but for the majority of the winter, it can just barely keep up with the battery demand. Okay, so for trimming this, there's a couple different ways. A lot of people use scissors. You can use razor blade. This is kind of the fun part. Everyone enjoys this. But I'm going to be cutting the bottom flat, and then the top's going to be trimmed up, and the tail's going to be normally kind of cut off to represent the wing, like down this way. But with the nice bits that we have there, I'm going to try and keep the the tip fibers. So we want to cut this off so it's just above the hook point. So I'm just going to kind of feel in there gently, find the hook point. There it is. Okay, so I want to be aiming for kind of the tip of my... And remember, you can always take more off, but you can't add it back in. So I'm going to just trim. I'm just doing a preliminary trimming. I'm actually going to spin this upside down so I can see what's actually popping off or not. Doesn't seem to want to pop very well. Okay, I'm going to switch to my scissors just until we get the bulk of this trimmed off. And again, I'm just doing the gross cutting right now. I want this all flat. And this is the fun part. Now, this isn't going to be the finished height, but I just want to get the bulk of it off, and then we can trim it down. It's a lot easier to make minor adjustments than it is to go in and just take a big hunk off, because you can't put it back on. Alright, so you can see the point there. We got a fairly flat eyebrow clippers. I don't know. I've never tried that. And they're meant to cut hair, so I'm sure they would work. I always just use my scissors. I do have the curved scissors here too, which does help for the top part. Straight scissors, obviously, because you're trying to keep it flat, work a little bit better. And I find you can just kind of move your scissors across, and it should lift up. Like right here, there's some longer ones. You see those? And you can just get the ones that were hiding and stuck in there. So I find it's better to kind of go over the whole fly. That way, if you decide you want it to be a little on the poofier side, you can. Alright, so we got our nice flat there. That'll work. Now for the sides here, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to trim it down back. Oh, someone's jumping for a star. Ugh. That's where I should like keep a dust buster around or something to get all this hair. Okay, so there's the next side. Let's get this side. See, it's already starting to take shape here pretty well. And this will float like an absolute cork. If you're having trouble casting these after you've cast it a couple times, just kind of smack them on your pant leg a couple times. Like, you know, you don't want to hook yourself, but give them a quick smack and it'll knock a lot of the water out of them, and they'll cast a lot better. They'll still float the same one way or the other, but if they get a bit waterlogged with water in between the fibers. Yeah, I should get one. Alright, so now we got both sides trimmed in the bottom. The bottom's still pretty poofy. We're going to come back and address that in a second here. You want to be able to at least see the hook point like readily so that you're not stopping fish from setting up. Alright, and then on the top, we're going to go for an angle. I'm actually going to get my curved scissors here for the top. That always seems to work a little better. A little bit personal preference. You can make these more torpedo shaped. You can make them really rigid and square. Cool. Yeah, I'm getting there. Another week or two, I think. Our first lake, like our season opens on, was it yesterday? The 6th? I can't remember, 6th or 8th. One or the other. And our first lake, the lowest altitude lake we have, just iced off. So there'll be people out there shortly, but everything else still has ice on it, so it's going to be another week or two before everything is fishable. Hey Dusty, good to have you in, man. You missed all the commotion with the deer hair spinning. You probably could have given me some advice on that. I don't want to get rid of all those tips, because like I said, I like to have the tips back there. They just add a nice transition that I really enjoy. But yeah, traditionally you would cut that back off on a like 45 back this way to make more of a wing poking out. I'm probably going to take off some of these ones on the bottom here just to help that. So there's a little bit more of a differentiated wing there, but I like to keep those back ones with tips if possible. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to get into that. My grandpa used to carve, not topwater poppers, but flatfish and hot shots and that kind of thing. I think I still have some of his carved hooks, actually. If I do, I'm not going to fish with them, though. I don't want to lose them. Yeah, that's cool. It's a lot of fun to make stuff out of wood like that. It's like fly tying, but like earthier. Okay, there we go. We're getting a really nice shape on that now. I'm just going to thin out the belly. I'm going to thin out the belly here, and I'll just use these curved ones to get me that angle that I'm looking for. This will make it a lot stiffer. Oh, okay. Well, at least you have some. I mean, stock trout is better than no trout. Like a lot of our trout are stocked too. We have a lot of natural trout too, but I mean they stock thousands of trout in most of the lakes here. Even like little lakes, like the ones up behind me that I'm gonna go fish this year. They drop them in with helicopters because there's no road into them. They even stock those. It's kind of funny watching that happen. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get some of that on film this year. They just go over them with a big balloon and just, and in the lake they fall. There we go. That's a nice belly. I'm happy with that one. Okay, this is actually coming together to look like a big old bulbous caddis. Okay, so our next point, now I'm going to get the thread. We're going to get the offending orange thread back. Later, Ethan. We're going to get the offending orange thread back here. Where's my little tie-off point? There you are. Okay. Okay, so we're going to switch to orange. We're or this is a rust actually. But I really like this color once it has the head cement on it. It looks awesome. I'm gonna have to go outside and shake myself off after this. There we go. Alright, cool. Alright, this will be pretty easy. We're just gonna tie in the antlers first. Or the horns, whatever you want to term them as. Kind of 6 one, half dozen the other. Okay. And for the horns, I just use, you can use many different things. You can use like paintbrush fibbits, you can use all sorts of things. But for me, the color and the look, the best thing to use are these. So your cutoffs from your red hackle. So just give me a second to find two that are relatively the same thickness, and we'll go with those two. These two feel pretty good. Those two are a little thicker. Okay. So here we go. And yes, I'm going to waste all this nice fluff that I was saving for something. And we're just stripping off all the fluff, all the way down. I'll give you a little bit of a natural reddish color to it, which is perfect. So that's kind of what we're going to end up with there. Spinning deer hair is a lot of fun. I do enjoy it. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what struggle I had today, and that part irritates me because I like to learn and overcome those obstacles, but I just can't wrap my head around what was causing that line to break every time. Obviously something I'm doing with my technique, but I'm not sure. Okay, so we're going to tie these in one at a time. I'm just going to cut the ends off so we got a nice clean end. And you want to use these, they have an upwards, let's just show the whole thing there. They have an upwards angle to their horns, and they're fairly long. So we want the horn to be the length of the whole caddis body, so it's a good length, so like this long. Okay, and we're going to transfer that over. I want one on one side and one on the other. So I'm going to kind of semi-cross them, so they're going to start kind of one side of the shank here, go across to the other side of the eye. And a lot of times when I'm putting horns in like this, I like to actually brace them. Oh, that's too much thread. I like to brace them against that eye on the other side, and that'll hold them in place. So I'll start right in the center of the eye, and as I'm wrapping, hey, thanks, Dustin. Oh, I'm happy I could start your day off right, man. So as I'm wrapping, it'll move itself to the other side of the eye. You can see how it's braced on the eye there like that. Here, let's, I'm going to move the camera slightly so we can get a little more of it in there, but not the whole thing. And I'm just going to do about 3 wraps because I want to be able to adjust that if a need be. And we're going to go with the second one here. And you'll still get your line through fine, and the line won't interrupt the horns or anything. But I find that they last a lot longer if you have them braced on the side of the hook there, or the side of the eye. Now you can actually tie these in a bit longer and then yeah, you can tie these in a bit longer if need be, and then adjust them after. That's perfectly fine. Or like just cut them off at the right length. That's definitely another way that'll work fine. So I'm gonna bind these in. Beauty. Okay, that's pretty good. You can see they're right across the top of the eye like that. They're not going to stop you from tying in. They're semi-flexible. You can get the line in and get your knot on. You can even use a loose loop knot if you want more movement and that kind of thing. But having it braced against the eye like that, they snap off way less, and they're more likely if they do hit something like a stick, rock, water, fish, whatever. If they do break, they're going to break a lot shorter than they would if you didn't do that. So, I don't know. That's a Nimbyism. I find that it works much better than not. Thank you for that, Dusted. I appreciate that, man. I'm happy I could make your coffee break in your morning all the better. And I thoroughly appreciate the donation there, man. Thank you kindly. A little bit of caddis coffee money. Okay, she's looking good now. She's looking like a caddis finally. And now we're gonna do a nice super bushy hackle. And the nice thing too, like I said, you're gonna be using this base here for your hackle, for your horns. You see how it gives it that nice, like that's just the natural orange of the hackle from a red, is this Rhode Island red, I think? Yeah. Rooster. So that's why it's nice to save these. They're useful, like saving the butt ends. They're useful for all sorts of different things on your bench, so don't throw them out. You can make caddis horns out of them. You can use the, you can even just save just the rakuses and use those for your nymph legs and all sorts of different stuff. And I just save the rakuses for things like this. You don't want to get too close to the one thing I will say is you don't want to get too close to the butt section of the, it starts getting white. You can see here where the feathers start getting white. It's much more brittle, and you don't want to be in competition with who? With NyQuil? Is that a person or a drug? I'm sorry, if there's a guy named NyQuil, I don't know him, and I probably should. If he's out there making baits. I watch, what's his name now? He does a lot of, he used to put a lot of his own music on. He does a lot of music mixing. Not Riverfront. He makes glide baits, and he carves them by hand from wood, and I've been watching his channel for a couple of years now. I feel bad. Tight Lines. The Tight Lines, I think, maybe. Oh, I feel bad. I can't remember his channel's name. He has an excellent channel. If I remember what it is, you should go check it out. He's been doing it for a long time, so I'm sure most of the people here probably run into him. He's been in the YouTube live stream game. He's on most days too, like if he's making baits, he's live streaming. Okay, I thought you might have been throwing a joke about that. I just wasn't 100% sure. Yes, we have NyQuil here too, and it does help you sleep. And sometimes if I can't sleep, that or like a antihistamine will do the trick. Okay, I'm gonna need a little. Where'd my little hackle player go? Oh, there it is. I'm gonna use my little hackle player as a safety in case I just slip them like that. Fingers are getting a little tired from all the deer hair packing. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't think they would. Unless we make a new sport out of it. We call it like nap time or bleed. I picked this specific one because it has a little bit of a badger stripe, and I like that dark kind of center that it gives you. This poor little caddis was like a lot more work than he should have been. But we're getting there. He's looking like a caddis. I'm gonna try not to catch in as many fibers as I can here because I'm actually gonna back wrap that last one a little bit here and just try and capture some of these in. The main reason is I can't really half hitch like I normally would with these horns on. And you really should. Yeah, he's looking good. I'm happy with him. Just was a struggle to get here. So I'm just gonna pin these back a bit, and hopefully this last couple wraps will help to hold some of these misfits back. There we go. I think that helped. Yo, people! Well, we have people, that's for sure. And we almost have a caddis. Hey, wee man! Oh, you missed Nimby just fighting with the deer hair, man. Oh no! Oh, I totally felt that right before it popped too. My eyes actually widened. It was like, no! Like slow motion. Okay, let's do that again. That's too bad. That was like really wrapped well too. I was quite happy with the way that was wrapped. Alright, is what it is. Let's get it straightened out. That is too bad though. That was a really nice hackle wrap. I was really happy with how it was all sitting. Yeah, not necessarily a bad thing. God, am I ever just absolutely caked in deer hair though. Just trying to keep this from getting too buggy, because like I said, I can't use some tricks that I normally would use to finish this off, because I can only really whip finish this. Oh, cool! Congrats, man. God, I miss nymph fishing. I can't wait for the ice to go away. But like that's part of it too, right? Like the anticipation. Okay, I'm gonna end it right there. I think that's probably good. I could get one more wrap in, but I also want to have a bit of a head on it. Yeah, I probably could have gone one more wrap, but later, Dustin. Thanks for dropping in, man. Always a good day to have you in. Okay, later, Rob. Thanks for coming in, man. Well, you pretty much seen that this is the complete fly, so at least you guys all got to see it. We just got to finish it off. You can catch the short too. So at least you guys got to see it in its completed form. Laters. Thanks for dropping in, guys. I'll finish this up for you. You can catch the spin and spiel later this week. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of all these hairs that are popping forward before we whip finish. Not too many, so I'm good with that. Can't burn them with fire. Oh, I did forget to burn my body with fire. Dang, I don't really want to do that with the hackle on now. Yeah, so that is one part I forgot to do, was to toast the body with a lighter. It gives it a really nice kind of like toasted marshmallow color to it, but I totally forgot about that. It's not necessary, it gives it a really nice look, and I can't really do that with the hackle on, because the hackle will just go poof if I'm even slightly off, so I'm not gonna. There you go. Yeah, like Gen X rap song or something. My back, my hip, my knees. Okay. Gonna whip finish this, hopefully, and not destroy the. Oop, don't do that. Don't do that. Thanks, I appreciate that. I don't own a larger whip finish tool because this normally works for me on everything, but some flies like this. Ugh. Here, 1 second. That's why I like to do the half hitches before I do my. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna grab my half hitch tool and just scoot them. Yeah, I wanted to. I've seen a few people on the YouTubes do it, and it looks really fun, so it's on my list. Get back in there. Now I'm just going to do a bunch of half hitches here, and then we'll gob that up with some head cement, and then put a little, just a whiff of varnish on it. But again, like, it looks like the eye is covered, and it is, but you can definitely get your line through there without any issue. And that makes a huge difference on how long those horns will stay on for. And again, they're probably more for the fishermen than the fish, but it's a really fun addition, and I enjoy it, so. Straighten these guys out a little bit. That's a little better. They're nice. They're nice rods. I'm not gonna complain. I mean, if you use it, it's worth it. If you just have it sit in your garage in a tube, not so worth it. If you fish a lot of, dangerous. Oh, it's going good, Doug. Finally got this caddis together. it's been a struggle. She's floofy though, and I think we did a good job on her. Just gonna brush her out a little bit, get all the broken hairs and stuff off of her, and then we'll throw the head cement. Yeah, I'm happy with the way the man, so much deer here. Lice is just covered in it too. There we go. Oh, you missed the struggle it took to create that though. It's been how long has it been? An hour and a half on one caddis fly. Ooh. God. Good thing someone's not paying me by the hour. I'd probably get fired. Alright. Let's I'm gonna try and move this back a hair. It's probably gonna out of focus a little bit, but there you go. That's a big old bushy caddis though. Look at him. I'm actually really happy with that. Well, it turned out, considering the struggles we've had, that turned out real well. Here we go. One hair up front here. Number 3. Oh, I mean, like, yeah, if you're going with like the light stuff like that, then the more expensive stuff is, in my opinion, kind of worth it. Like, I wouldn't necessarily go with sage for something like a 7 or an 8 like I use, because most 8s and that are pretty stiff anyway. And you have the weight of the line and you have everything to get it out there. But like having that little bit better rod and reel and line combo for like the light stuff, like 3 to 5, it makes a lot more of a difference. I really wish I burnt this. This would have looked really good with it toasted, but I don't want to lose that hackle. And I'm pretty sure I will. So we're just going to leave it like that. It's just going to be a white marshmallow. And we'll get our head cement on here, and we'll darken this up into a nice burnt orange color, which I really like on a lot of my nymphs and caddises. It's just such a buggy orange. You see how that just darkens it right up? Doesn't that look good? Gives it that like really just money. Good. Love it. The acetone just melts the wax off on the thread and gives it that really nice dark burnt rust color. See? Isn't that cool? And it just makes it stand out that much more from the red horns and the red hackle. There we go. Okay, now we're just gonna give it a little, just a whiff of Sally Hansen's quick dry here, or insta dry. It's not instant, but that's the marketing. It's pretty close to though. And I mainly just want it on the top here to stop those horns from having leverage and pulling the head apart if it gets caught on something. And that's all we need. That'll dry nice. Whew, it smells strong. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna try, it's probably gonna be out of focus a hair, but I'm gonna try and get it back. Oh, nettle stings are horrible. I didn't know we had stinging nettles up here. I really didn't. Like my whole life, I was born up here and lived here and everything. And I had no idea we had stinging nettles up here. And my wife found some in one of our flower pots actually. And then we found out that it was actually like around our property. Because I thought maybe it was in the potting soil that got mixed in or whatnot. But it was actually just, yeah, we actually have stinging nettle up here. I had no idea. My whole life living up here, just found out last year. and we found out because we got stung. We're like, why is this hurt so bad? I'm like, geez, it's just like stinging nettle or poison ivy or something. I looked it up, and yep, sure enough, stinging nettle. So I feel for you, man. I've been there. It sucks. Alright, gonna do a quick spin and spiel on this guy because he turned out fabulous. Yeah, Europe is full of them for sure. And the vise today we have Goddard Caddis. This is a wonderful little pattern made up with white-tailed deer hair that is tied in all puffy-like with some bunched deer hair all the way down the body, with it lifting up at the back, kind of at the butt area with the tip sticking out to create a look of a wing pattern on the back. It'll float like a cork. It's got some really nice red hackle up front. We have a nice auburn, like a brown dark rust uni thread, which is in rust brown, and the head cement makes it into that wonderful darker red thread color up in the front there. We have two horns tied up on the front that are just red hackle rakuses sticking out that we pulled all the fibers off. Wonderful little pattern. It'll float like a cork. If they're feeding on top and you got caddises that are coming in the area, you should definitely have a couple of these in your box. You can tie them in different sizes. This one's on a size 6, and they can go all the way down to a 12, and anything in between, whatever your size caddises are in your area. Wonderful little pattern. Add a couple to your box, eh? Okay, I'm gonna deer hair myself, but anyways, any comments, accusations, questions, concerns, feel free to toss them. Yeah, I know nettle's got like all sorts of different uses, like medicinally and everything too, but after being stung by it, it's just like, do I wanna bother with that? It's like I can just make some nice onion soup or something. Yeah, it has a lot of really good medicinal value for sure. Hey, well there was our caddis in the vise. It took us over an hour to get it sorted, but it was a good battle, and we won. We have achieved victory over the caddis. Fun little thing. Alright, I'm gonna cut her here, guys. We just got the one in today, but I don't have time for another if it's gonna take that long. And I gotta get ready for work, so I just want to thank everyone for tuning in with me this morning, getting this nice coffee caddis tied up. Hopefully, y'all have a wonderful morning.